Welcome into Queen City News Plus. I'm Robin Kanady. We are outside the studio and here enjoying this wonderful weather at Piedmont Medical Center. We are talking summer safety. We're speaking with Dr. Carrie Watson, the Trauma Medical Director here at Piedmont Medical Center. Dr. Watson, thank you so much for joining us. And we want to talk a little bit about summer safety. What are some of the injuries that you all see here at Piedmont Medical Center in the summer particularly?
Yes, so we are lucky enough here in the Rock Hill, Fort Mill area where being outside and being on the lakes and going walking and all of our walking trails and the water center, there's so much to do in this area. So around this time of year, we start seeing a lot more boating accidents, skiing accidents out on the water, jet skis, any of those water activities, but also things like people falling because they're hiking, they're getting overheated going on long walks. So we're seeing falls related to that, which can lead to head trauma, broken hips, broken bones. So summer for us stays very, very busy.
Yeah, so you mentioned too, when we were talking a little earlier, you said, kids with water hoses playing out and also the water slides they might have for birthday parties. Tell us about that.
Right. So one of the things that I know I grew up doing as a kid, again, being a millennial, we love being outside in the backyard and turning that water hose on and maybe having a water fight. What people forget is the water that has been in that water hose over the course of days becomes very, very hot. It can get to temperatures at 150, 200 degrees. So when you first turn that water hose on and you actually go to spray someone just for fun, you can result in partial thickness burns. So we've had people come through with blistering and burns related to that. Similarly, water slides, pay attention to where you're putting them. Is there rocks underneath them? Is there anything sharp that can cut you? Playgrounds, if you're going somewhere that has metal playground equipment or even the plastic equipment, it can get very hot. So as a parent, go and touch that equipment first. Try to do your playground trips in the morning or in the evening when things have cooled down. Don't spend a lot of time sitting directly on those metal pieces of equipment because that also can cause burns.
What about jet skis and boats, those kind of things? What precautions should people take out there?
Right. So first and foremost, if you are on a jet ski or any type of equipment, like on the back of a boat, wear your life vest. I cannot push that enough for people to do because even though you might be an excellent swimmer, sometimes people around you are not paying as close of attention. So if you're on jet skis and you're with a group of people, this time of year, there are more and more people out on their boats, other jet skis. You need to be paying attention to your surroundings. Drinking alcohol, things like that prior to going on a jet ski, that's only going to increase your risk of having an injury. But that life vest can truly be life-saving. I have had patients being thrown off of a jet ski, patients who run into the side, a tree, a dock, they get thrown, and if you go underwater and you are unconscious, you cannot swim to get yourself to the surface, so you have to wear those life vests.
Talk a little bit about fireworks injuries and people doing fireworks on their own. What do you see in this time of summer and holidays? What do you see there?
People are out setting fireworks, also bonfires. Some people are burning their grass and planting new grass. There's a lot of reasons right now why people might have fires. Also because it can get very dry, sometimes it's a spontaneous fire. So if you're out there doing a bonfire, we recommend 3 feet around those bonfires. Keep the kids back. If you're using any type of an accelerant, only one person near the fire, no one nearby. Make sure you're picking an area that does not have a lot of dry grass or other brush, and try not to do it on a windy day. So one of the things also that can spread a fire very quickly is winds coming through and actually pushing that fire forward. When it comes to firecrackers or fireworks, you need to make sure that you're watching your children at all times and make sure they're not directing towards people, and really encourage those young people not to play fireworks games where they shoot fireworks at each other, which unfortunately we see a lot of, where kids will actually fire Roman candles at each other and we get burns, we get blown off fingers and hands. So really it is those instructions of this can happen to you, and keep a watch on your kiddos.
And let's talk water safety just a little bit, because we know that drownings, of course, happen more in the summer. What can people do to prevent that?
So we all like to think that we're in great shape and that we can go and go and go. And I know that I like to think that I'm 20 years old too and can swim for long periods of time. But when it comes to drowning, one of the more common things that we see is it's related to fatigue and dehydration. So when your kids are going out and they're swimming, you need to pay attention to the time limit that they're there. They really should be swimming and then taking 15-minute breaks. Swim for 30 to 45 minutes, 15-minute break. Especially if you're going out onto a lake and they can go far distances, you're not always aware how far you've gone, from that shoreline. And as you start to get fatigued, you might start to inhale some water. You get a little more tired. If you're not taking those breaks, number one, it increases your risk of actually drowning on scene. But number two, dry drowning. And for those that don't know what that is, small amounts of water being inhaled into your lungs over time, you can see symptoms 3 to 4 hours later, and then all of a sudden you or your child goes into complete respiratory failure. And that's why taking breaks is so important, and staying hydrated. Have your water out there with you. Have a container that is full, and if you finish your water, you're finished swimming. You need to not keep swimming if you can't stay hydrated.
Just being hydrated and heat-related illnesses.
Yes.
That's something that you guys see.
Yes. So we are already seeing temperatures up to 100 degrees around here. And a lot of people think I don't need that much water, or I'm drinking cola over here or iced tea. The reason we encourage water is because a lot of those things can actually be very dehydrating. So I recommend, and I carry with me little packets of IV hydration. There's different things that you can get at the grocery store that have electrolytes in them that you can mix with your water. And especially if you're drinking alcohol, for every 1 glass of alcohol you're drinking, you should be drinking 1 8-ounce glass of water. We like to be outside, we like to have our margarita, but you're not realizing that you're losing all of that through sweat just from being outside. You need to keep that water flowing to keep everything else functioning.
What about caffeine? If you're drinking that, that's going to also dehydrate you.
Absolutely. So that combination of being out, being active, you're drinking caffeine, you're not drinking the water, and then that starts making you think about that heat stroke and heat fog. And the more tired and dehydrated you get, you're going to make worse decisions. And then that puts you at risk for falling, having a car wreck, falling asleep behind the wheel, all of these different things. And so it's really important to be conscientious that it's very easy to get behind on water. So take those bottles with you.
Lightning strikes, that is another concern as we're out and about and these thunderstorms coming up in the summer. Now, we actually recently had 20 people on Lake Murray in Columbia struck by lightning. And so what are the precautions that people take? We always hear our meteorologists say, if thunder roars, head indoors, but that's really true. If you can hear the thunder, then the lightning can strike you.
Absolutely. And this is one of the things that, being outside and dancing in a thunderstorm and hanging out sounds great and fun. The problem is if you are in areas like on a lake, on a body of water, you're out in the open in a field. All of my golfers out there, I practiced in Florida for a long time, and there's a golf course around every corner. And when we start talking about thunderstorms, that's the area that lightning is most likely to strike. And so it really is important to go inside, get out from underneath it. People don't realize the damage that lightning can do. The biggest impact to your heart. That electrical shock can actually cause issues for hours after. So if you do experience a lightning strike, even if you feel fine afterwards, you need to come to the hospital. We will evaluate you. You need to be monitored because you can actually have a cardiac event, what we call like a heart attack, after having a lightning strike.
Skin safety, right? We do want to make sure we're protecting our skin as we're out there. What are the things that people should look for in sunscreens?
Right. So everyone, it does not matter if you are translucent or not, everyone should be wearing sunscreen because damage occurs to everyone. So the biggest and most important thing is pick the brand that you like. If you're going to any type of a body of water, I will always recommend trying to get a coral safe or a sunscreen that actually does not damage the surrounding wildlife. Something to think about. But really it's all about the timeliness of putting it on. If you're doing something that's very active, playing a sport, sweating, out there mowing your grass, you really need to be reapplying at least every 30 minutes to an hour, because as you're sweating in that any of your shirts or clothing, it can actually rub the sunscreen off. If you're out and you're lounging, it's recommended still every 2 to 3 hours to reapply because that's about how long it lasts on your skin. So always reapply. If you have the option, there's great clothing that is made now that has UVA and B protection that can be lightweight, allows the wind to kind of go in and out, and you're being protected. And lastly, the most common area that we see people get skin cancer is actually for men, top of the head if you don't have hair. Men and women is the ears, the top of the ears, and then your legs. And the reason for that is people are constantly thinking my face, my chest, my arms, but those areas get neglected. So again, wearing hats is a great idea to protect your scalp and your ears from the sun.
And sunglasses, anything people particularly should look for there?
really just something that's comfortable that you're going to be wanting to keep on, because I would say the hardest part for sunglasses, people don't want to wear them. So something that offers good protection, and that's about it.
Yeah, gotcha. Lighter colored clothing as well, that makes a difference.
Yes, and that's particularly important for being outside for long periods of time related to heat stroke or getting overheated. Darker clothes are going to hold on to that heat. Lighter clothes reflect. So something to keep in mind if you know that you're going to be out all day at an event with your kids or somewhere walking around these parks, lighter colors, better for reflecting the heat.
Right. Anything you would like to say just to wrap us up here?
The biggest thing is keep in mind everyone is wanting to have a good time right now. It's wonderful that we have an area where people can do so many different things. But because this is the time that people are traveling more families are out and about. Remember, it's not just about you. Pay attention to those around you. If you see someone getting tired or fatigued when they're swimming, if you're noticing a child has been outside, I think that this is the time for us to be a real community for each other. Let's all take care of each other. If you recognize that someone is looking like they might be in distress, let's say something.
Dr. Watson, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.